Good morning, Thomas. How are you today?
Hey, good morning, Jonathan, and welcome everybody to Creative Knowledge for You. So, what topic are we going to discuss today, Jonathan?
All right, so I'd like to talk about the importance of hiring people for your company, and we can go through the ins and out on what you need to do and what you have to look for, and then go through how long they, take to get used to your company. So I guess let's start with that, and if you want, I can go through, um, my experience within my own company and how it's been to hire new people, especially post COVID, and how that's been.
I think this is a good topic. What I'm going to do is I'm also going to discuss what I'm seeing with other clients of mine and how they're handling it, and also businesses just establishing themselves. So, let's start with your personal, what's happening in your company and what are you seeing and what are you doing to get over these hurdles?
So yeah, I mean, for the last few years, we've, through COVID and after COVID, we've seen a lot of different types of backgrounds, of experience and skill sets come through. And I guess the most challenging thing is finding people that match their resume. Meaning, we get a lot of great resumes that come across the desk, and you would hire every one of them if you think that resume is exactly who the person is. But once we bring them in, we quickly find out that they don't even match 10% of what their resume shows. So we're hiring people left and right. We're trying to bring in quality people that have, the right skill set and experience that we need so we can uphold our quality to our clients and what we do for them. But I guess the biggest challenge is that we spend a lot of time hiring people and they're just not up to the tasks that we need to get done. Like for an
So,
example,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah. So for an example, if we're looking for a person that wants to do web design or web development, they may have all the proper skill sets and experience on their resume, and then when they come through the door, they say everything right in the interview, and we bring them on, and then within the first project, we find that they can't do half the things that they said they can do, and it puts us in like a very it's a difficult situation because now we're in the middle of a project. The person can't do it, so we as the owners or the other employees in the company are having to take that workload. But then we have this person that just came in and didn't work out. So it's like a quick in, a quick out.
All right, so that tells me from my experience, all right, that you need to change your, process of hiring people. And what you need to do is if people say, hey, I can do this, this, and this, then you're going to have to do another process. So let me ask you a question. Currently, I assume when somebody sends their resumes, you're calling them, are you doing a phone interview?
Yeah, we're doing a phone interview. They go through two different people to talk to, so I'll be the first person that they go through, and then my partner will be the second person, the one that's going to be their direct manager on the account.
Okay.
Um,
So after you do that, do you do a Zoom or a face-to-face interview with them?
yeah, I mean we do those. I'll
Okay.
tell you, we have the solution already done just because of the experience we've had, but we believe that the best thing to do is to provide them with a quick test, a project test that it's not even a client, it's just a like build a website, or if they're doing, yeah, let's say a website, build a website using this procedure, and then we'll just have them do it. And if they can't do it, then we know they're not going to work. But that's just very recently that we started doing these tests at the very end of the interview process where they have to pass it. Because the resumes we can't go off of anymore. They can go to any school, every school, they can have all the experience on their resume, but they have to be able to have an assessment that they go through.
Okay. You know, I understand on your side of the fence, you're hiring some of these technical people. You should be giving them, as you're saying, a project skill test to do and see how long it takes them to accomplish it. And you can actually see them doing it, which is very easy these days, even if they're working from afar. because you can actually tap into their systems as well, as long as they allow you to do so.
Right.
When it comes to the companies that I've been working with for quite a while, I see the issues that they have, and they'll like get people aboard, but they're not really working in sync the way they want. So it depends on the position it is, especially when it comes to, in sales and marketing, public relations. When you're hiring key people, your key management people around you and your upper management and C-level, I always tell the CEO and that top manager to take a personality test. And they kind of like look at me. I'm like, listen, you get them free online. And I've always been the type of person, it's just something I picked up, 30 years ago. I just started doing it. It's like you have the typical desk in your office and you got two chairs in front of you. I always made people feel comfortable. I sat side by side. I called it the fireside interview, but,
Right.
people bring their resumes to you. You're looking at their skills and everything. But you know what? You want to make sure their personality kind of matches your personality, especially in the strong points, because
Yep.
you got to build your team around your personality. The old adage is, there'll be conflict because, sometimes personalities hit head on. So you want to try to nail this in the interview process, and don't be afraid, maybe in the second interview before you hire them, to let them take a personality test,
Right.
because that's important, especially in today's post-COVID world.
Well, I guess what we have, I guess, done over the last few months, or let's say the last few years, is we added the extra person that they have to talk to. So normally it would just be my partner that they would talk to, and they may have all the skills that we need, but then when it comes to talking to a client, they don't know how to talk to the client. They're scared to meet them. They're scared to do a video call. They're scared to, or maybe scared is the wrong word. They don't have the confidence to talk to them. So that's why, we added that. I'll talk to them first. I'll see if they would be able to. We'll do like a quick mock, like a mock example. Like, this is what we normally do with clients. This is how you have to respond, and I'll ask them questions, and then I'll tell them if they are doing the right way, doing it the right way, and if we can work with that. And if I like the way they sound, I like the way they work, or they answer questions, then I'll send them to my partner. But it's I think what's happening a lot is people are taking jobs that they're working remotely, and then they're just giving it to someone else to do the work, because it could very well be that they actually do have all the experience, they have all the skills, but they just don't want to do the work. So they may go overseas, or they may go to a different person that's a less qualified person, and having them do the work. So it's one of the things that we have to always be careful with in this remote world where everyone doesn't want to come to the office, to have a checks all the different things that we're doing. But I think we'll see how it goes in the next few months. I'll get back to you on it, because we're putting in, like, we're just gonna give people like a mock trial test. They're gonna make a website, they're gonna create a Google campaign, and we're gonna see how it works, because that's really the way to determine if they have what it takes to push forward.
Well, you know what you're describing to me is kind of like the operational end of your business.
Yep.
So, one thing I like to use an analogy, you're a baker. The baker uses a cookie cutter. Reason why he uses a cookie cutter, because that person's going to stay within the perimeters that you're setting up. So, especially in operations, if you're actually working with that person, you're going to show them ABC, and this is what you're going to do. And then, when they got that done, then you're going to teach them, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then once they get that
Yep.
done, you continue. So that, you're training them as you go.
Yeah, I mean, I think that all makes sense. It sounds, I mean, the other part is, like, when you talk about salespeople that you're trying to hire, that's been another, we've done it, but for every 10, 20 that we bring in, maybe one or two last, because everyone else just, they think that the sales are just going to be dropping out of the sky, and they're going to just be taking calls, and it's all done for them. We provide people with all the proper sales material, sales training, collateral, everything they need, but whatever they need, brochures, trifolds, information on what we're doing, how we work. We even have our sales manager do a lot of ride days with them where they'll actually go door to door and they'll do what's needed. And they'll do it first. Our sales manager will do all the talking and let them see how it works. And then they may be okay. They may do the right thing. They may say the right things, but after the fact, it is difficult to get those people motivated to continue to go out and do put the work in to get the sales pipeline going. So that's
Well,
been another challenge on the sales front.
gotcha. When you go from hiring in operations and you're hiring sales, it's two different beasts, of course, that you're doing.
Yep.
So, when you have salespeople, there has to be an energy level. Salespeople always have to be kept being motivated and motivating. A lot of people don't have that self-motivation. I know a lot of people want this work from home thing. Work from home is hurting a lot of people's, skills to develop them, especially people who are younger. And what I mean by younger, 40 and younger, because you're not a seasoned person. You get seasoned more after you're 40, especially
Yep.
if you've been in that industry. So you have to be around seasoned people so you can watch them, ask them questions, even having what they use that term, the old water cooler, talk. Let's get around the water cooler and just chit chat. That's so important because just having casual conversation will ignite something in your mind and go, wow, that's a great idea. Let me, do that. The salespeople, listen, and they got a good 5 hours in an 8-hour day where they're going to have energy to do it instead of fiddling around with things. Too many people get caught up in the CSRs, which that's a whole nother topic, but I'm not a big fan of those. I believe in just getting out there, cultivating the relationship, and that's what you have to do. And from what you're describing, these salespeople, you're giving them all these little tools, but they're not using the most easiest tool, the conversational piece to cultivate that relationship with that client. Because once that client likes you, they're going to buy from you. They're not buying because of your product or your price. They're buying because of that person. It's like going to a car dealership. You go in there, but sometimes you get some of these car dealer salesmen, they're really good, but they make you feel good. It's like, wow, not only do I enjoy sitting in this beautiful car, but man, I want you to hang out with me too. As a salesperson. That's what that salesperson has to do. That's called cultivating a relationship, especially what you do, because you're not just going in getting that customer one time. You want that customer on a 12-month contract, a 24-month contract. So that means that salesperson is going to be in contact with them and, developing it and also working off referrals from that, client eventually, because that's what you want, generational referrals coming word of mouth from that, one client that they have. So it sounds like that's a big hurdle that you're having with your salespeople you're bringing aboard right now. And I know other companies are as well.
Well, with the salespeople, it's also very challenging because you don't want them to say the wrong things. We've seen people that will say whatever they can just to get a person to make a sale. That's not what we want to do. We want people that are honest. We want people that understand what we do. We want people to be realistic with their expectations that they set. Because there's a big difference. Anyone can sell anything if they're just totally lying about everything, right? So our thing is we go over the top and we say, it's going to take longer than it normally would take. It's going to be harder than it really will be, just because we want them to, hear the hardest part rather than and then make the sale rather than make it as easy as possible. So that's a big thing that we'll go over. But I think there's a lot more here that we can talk about. So maybe we'll do another video sometime about, maybe if we want to do it next time or if we want to do it at another time, because there's a lot more here for us to talk about. But
understood. There's one thing I just want to end with on this
yep.
topic. You know what? When you have a customer, the best thing to do is when you got them on the ropes, listen, Mr. Jones, what can I do in order to just have you taste what I'm able to do for you? Let me know right now where it's not going to cost you anything. Let me just give you a sample of what we can do to make you a believer in our product so we can start building this relationship and putting money in your pocket through our marketing.